Hello, welcome to Dragonfly 13TT. I'm the owner of this website, Francis Richardson, date of birth 10/10/68, the American that traveled through time. Saluting those that step outside of mediocrity, challenge themselves to live their dream, as always. This video is in reference to, is titled, No Conspiracy, No Cover. There's been a lot of bogus BS going on since, 2010 when I left my condominium. And the information that people seem to have had, mostly from the government, was information that I had said in the privacy of my own home, dating back to 2007. That's why, hence I have the title, No Conspiracy, No Cover. So to clarify some things, my name is Laura Francis Richardson, date of birth 10/10/68. I've had the nickname Laura Lee since 80s, sometime in the late 80s. And I do have a criminal record. However, I had sobered up January of 2009, and the last time I went to jail was for a DWI, and I had gotten out of jail March 2007. And upon my return home is when I noticed that something strange was going on in my home. And as I said, from approximately January 2009 until the current date, overall, I've been sober, don't drink, don't do drugs, haven't committed any criminal acts. Law enforcement's issued several traffic ticket violations. That's about the only criminal activity that I have conducted. And the majority of the time that I've been stopped by law enforcement, it has been in violation of the Constitution. They've had actually no substantial probable cause, which another video I will be making is, well, I'll give details of the specifics of the law enforcement harassment. As I said, I'm sober, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I have an occasional drink here and there, and I don't condone crime. I don't condone violence, and I don't condone the N-word, which I've said a few times over the last couple of years, but overall I don't condone the N-word in reference to ethnicity. And prior to me leaving my home, which I was evicted in October 2010, I had a neighbor of mine that, by the name of Zane, who had come to my home. And as I said, I suspected something strange from the time I had arrived home around March 2007. I had a neighbor of mine when I lived at 1121 Post Oak Boulevard. I owned a condominium there. Come over and disclose some information that I ended up catching some discrepancies in the information he was disclosing, which led me to believe that he had somehow divulged deeply into my past with some I'm not quite sure his method, but he had disclosed information about people in my life that had never entered the property where I lived. And that really raised a red flag for me. And 2010, when I was evicted, I went to Star of Hope, being homeless. And when I was at Star of Hope, I wanted to check in as a resident and was told that Monday through Thursday, 9 to 4, I had to attend church and was only permitted to look for employment on Fridays, which I found awful peculiar. And like I said, at that time I had no idea that the federal government, Barack Obama, had me intentionally flagged and was stalking me through that sewer drain and trans-cam and security surveillance, which has also included private sector security surveillance. But that has been their method, and it's been no conspiracy, no cover. I've studied Edgar Casey for a quarter of a century. I did travel through time. I do have prophetic dream visions. I do have what's now is called clairsentience. It is a very valuable ability in which, like I said, the President of the United States of America deliberately set out to destroy. I contacted the mayor at that time, was Denise Parker, Houston, Texas, who had continuously basically ignored the fact of what her administration was doing, and now there's a new mayor, as well as the governor Rick Perry knew what was going on, and the new governor Greg Abbott, to which I say to those politicians, my military veterans legislation was always to Washington, D.C. It began July 2009. It was never a city ordinance, and it never was a state legislation. Hence, you had no business in it unless you were signing it or financially sponsoring and or both. And there was some information that I did disclose based on some prophetic dream visions that I had about have a careful eye out for David Petraeus, and as we all well know, after 2010, I'm not sure what year, he ended up ending his distinguished career, regrettably having an affair. When I was in it, which prophetically came true. Then in 2011, I had several prophetic dream visions prior to that, but was specifically told by a guardian angel to look out for a man with thin lips. As it turned out, that was Bergdahl, who was a POW from 2009 to 2014. The exact same face that I was seeing. POW for 5 years. And the fact that there are family names from my family bloodline that overlap the names of some of the scandals that have come out of the Barack Obama administration. Bergdahl, also the last four letters, are also the last four letters of a family name of mine, Kirkendall. As well as Richardson and Adam Luna, which is part of my family name, Richardson, Kirkendall, Luna. And another one of my prophetic dream visions that I had prior to it occurring, it ended up occurring around May 2011. It was National Prayer Weekend when the Navy SEAL helicopter crashed I was listening to the Michael Savage show on the radio, staying at the Knight's Inn in Waco, Texas, and I had verbally stated Richard Macklewitz's name because I knew it was getting ready to happen. And 9/11/2012, the Libya Benghazi terrorist attack. I knew a couple of days before then something was getting ready to happen. As a matter of fact, I was enrolled at Lee College and was unable to speak for a couple of days, and it was just real hoarse. And the speech professor at Lee College chastised me as though we were in high school for looking out the window while he was lecturing. And some of the names that are related to the Benghazi, Libya terrorist attack: Patricia Smith, Tycho Woods, Brian Woods. I don't find peculiar at all. I know Travel Channel has a Brian Erber that has some kind of show talking about time travel. And I had seen some of Green Beret Michael Watts' photographs that had mentioned something about Brian Kemp, as well as the Wounded Warriors Sean Smith and some of the Wounded Warriors Project videos where he states that he was driving a vehicle, and I believe it was his girlfriend at the time. I'm not sure, his girlfriend, now wife. Somebody had stated that they to give me two, and there seems to be this double round, which Francis Richardson's refusing to participate. I did a one-time updating to my military veterans legislation with the two Bibles from Ricky Lee, the 18-wheeler trucker driver, and that was the extent of mine. Rather than the repetitious over and over again, I put my foot down. I'm not going to double around. Because when I was driving my vehicle, I did have some paranormal experiences. I've had some paranormal experiences throughout these past few years too. I've studied metaphysics for 25 years, since I was in my early 20s, and it isn't anything that I, am naive about. And one incident being in the Ford Probe that I was in, where the number 619 appeared inside my vehicle. The driver's, right above the driver's wheel, it was the number 619. When I was waking up, and I went and sat in the driver's seat, I couldn't tell if it was on the inside or the outside, and I ran my finger next to it, and the condensation started dripping. So I knew that it was done from the inside, but I didn't do it. So, like I said, I know that there's been some paranormal as well as guardian angel, genuine experiences. I just had to figure out what part was security surveillance from the private sector, what part was security surveillance from the government sector, and what part was actually authentic. In 2012, I published some penmanship that I had on hand, so I would have documentation substantiating to my family bloodline what has occurred. And as far as I'm concerned, Bill O'Reilly, you know, I just can't say enough about what a great call that was. I appreciate it. And like I said, the last time I did travel through time was January 2013. I owned a green vehicle at that time, and it was January. It was a short one. I went to August 2013, the first Friday, August 2013, and it ended up being a terrorist attack. I was in LaPorte, Texas, and I received a family inheritance, which I was able to purchase a vehicle, couldn't attempt to get on my feet, a computer with and have word put on it so that I'd be able to complete my autobiography, since I am a whistleblower from the sign language interpreting industry. And I had 5 computer hard drives crashed while I stayed at In-Town Suites, as is well known. After that, once I realized that was coming from the hotel security surveillance into my room, directly into my room intentionally, because they had some other production idea of Francis Richardson's name brand, I immediately began, I called several attorneys who didn't want to take the case, so I presumed to go along with the lawsuit myself. 6 months, it took me 6 months, I sold my vehicle, it took me 6 months to write the lawsuit. I walked an hour and a half one way to a library, an hour and a half back for 6 months during the winter while homeless, authoring this lawsuit. I then registered to go to Houston Community College, knowing that the money after tuition would be enough to file the lawsuit, and Houston Community College intentionally deleted my registration the fall of 2014, as well as the spring of 2014, as well as the spring of 2015, knowing with full intention, knowingly, who Francis Richardson was: military veteran family member, military veteran advocate, military veteran author of a legislation that began in July of 2009, as have they all known. And so there's really no conspiracy. It's just been the government intentionally set out to destroy my ability, set out to keep me financially in the lower income earning bracket. And like I said, they aren't the only ones that know. American Hero Channel is fully aware of it. Yes, I was the Francis Richardson that set the mission to complete a triathlon as a remedy to PTSD, and I appreciate that endorsement. However, when it comes to national politics, that's it. I draw the line. And it was a pleasure to see Will Willis, my so kind of therapist. I appreciate the videos because it really did help me through a tough time, sorting through all that authentic stuff I had to sort through. You look well, you look happy, and I was always the producer, director, author, editor, everything of my own ball. Thank you. And I do live in Texas. I'm real tired of that so-called move around. I don't have to move around. That's all they've been doing is asking me to leave places when I absolutely never had to. There's another video that I'll be doing where I was continuously asked to leave government entities as well as private entities. For absolutely no reason at all. And all intellectual property rights belong exclusively to Francis Richardson, an author. Solo talk show, name brand. And when it comes to national politics, I do carry my own. Francis Richardson's holding Francis Richardson's own name brand. And I know that those that are politically on the right have known about my legislation as well. American Hero Channel, as for that Delta Force video, the it is ability. Michael Savage, the it isn't the legislation. It is sad that so many people seem to think it is and want to piggyback it. But yeah, I'm real tired of the it being the legislation when it's supposed to be ability. That is the it, and that is where I put my foot down, is Francis Richardson's it is ability. And I have no TV show. I have absolutely no need for all that behind the scenes mess. And that's pretty much it. Barack Obama, as far as the going to VFW when you did, like a couple of months ago, and stating what you stated, I am probably the only one politically on the right that has been to numerous VFW posts and intend to go back, hopefully to have a meal with money. And there was absolutely no political right-wing conversation. As a matter of fact, they were raising funds, several of them, having meals to raise funds for their military veteran advocacy in Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. So I know you've been keeping a close eye on what Francis Richardson's been doing, and intentionally set out to destroy my ability. That's pretty much it. So it's no conspiracy. None of the hospital stays. None of that. That's pretty much it.